The battle to lead the Republican Party is heating up ever since former President Trump announced his third run for president. Former Republican House Speaker Paul Ryan coining a new category of anti-Trumper in an interview with ABC.
I governed with them, and I'm very proud of those days. I'm proud of the accomplishments of the tax reform, the deregulation of criminal justice reform. I'm really excited about the judges we got on the bench, not just the Supreme Court, but throughout the judiciary. But I am a never again Trumper. Why? Because I want to win. And we lose with Trump. It was really clear to us in 18, in 20, and now in 2022.
Okay, joining me now to discuss, we have pollster and communications analyst Frank Luntz back with us, and he has been talking to Republican voters. Okay, so Frank, we have a clip of this, but first just give me an overview of, these are all people who had voted for Trump, and now after the midterms, they feel differently?
Most of them do feel differently, and most of them voted for Trump twice, not just once. So these were part of his core base. And they didn't even know what the conversation was going to be about, because I didn't tell them. So we got into this, and I was shocked at what they had to say.
Okay, so let's watch a clip of this.
Okay, if the race was between, and you had to choose now, who would you vote for, Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis? Raise your hands physically if you would choose Trump in that contest. 1, 2, 3. Raise your hand if you would choose Ron DeSantis. All the rest of you.
So what did they tell you about that?
And hopefully we'll play the clip of it. They told me that they're tired. They're just worn out. They still believe in what Donald Trump said, and they believe in what he tried to do, but they're tired of the chaos. They're tired of, I use the phrase mishigas, but I don't think Trump understands those words. And they're just simply worn out, and they want someone who they believe will bring their ideas, their ideologies, their vision to success. And they simply don't think that's Donald Trump anymore.
They also told you that they thought it was too much about Donald Trump. So here's that moment. Let's watch that.
Gotten too much about Donald Trump. He used to be the stand-in for the establishment and other people against us, and now it's all about him.
I don't think they voted for Biden. They voted against Trump, and I think DeSantis gives a better reasoning to vote for him and not against him.
So interesting, Frank, because I'm not sure Donald Trump has changed.
Well, I'm not sure how he would react watching this right now. I think he'd find some reason to dismiss it. And I know we're going to be talking about Jay Leno, and I want to foreshadow it because Leno got involved in an argument that I had with Donald Trump.
How?
So, because Trump tried to get me fired from my news outlets. I worked for Fox News at the time and CBS, and Trump went out of his way because he hates these focus groups. He hates listening to real people. And they had a lot of negative things to say about him. He blew up. And Leno, as I will say later on, came to my aid. But we've got polling data now that was done by the Premise poll, completed on Saturday evenings. This is 48 hours. And it has Joe Biden now defeating Donald Trump by 6 points. But Ron DeSantis has a 4-point lead over Biden. You have a 10-point swing between Trump and DeSantis, and that's a lot at this point.
That's really fascinating, Frank, but it is a lot at this point. Do you think that as people, Ron DeSantis is not in the race. Obviously, when somebody enters the race, the bloom is off the rose a little bit, and people get to know them, and they're not a shiny new object. Do you think that that would happen? I mean, do you think that that's how it normally goes?
That's a fair point, but they look at what he achieved in Florida. A landslide. 4 new Republican congressmen taking the positions, these tough positions that Trump took in Washington. DeSantis actually got it done in Florida. And while there is still some controversy about him, voters are looking at him with a fresh light, and he can actually get some Democrats that Donald Trump could never touch.
You know what's interesting, Frank, is that it's the midterms that got that. It sounds as though that was the tipping point. OK, so not an insurrection on the Capitol, mishandling of COVID, all of the things, the criticisms that people could level against Donald Trump, people still stuck with him. And then his candidates don't win in the midterms. That was the tipping point?
And he went after, and what we actually have in the Premise poll is that DeSantis is now pulled even with Trump. One asks why, and the answer from the voters, because they're just tired and worn out of the chaos, of the disputes, of the arguments, of the hearings and the task forces and everything. And they want to go back to a sense of normalcy.
So this is not CNN polling, obviously, that we have, and we haven't confirmed all of that, but you have your own polling and data that shows all of it. It's just it's really interesting to see how people feel today and if it sticks, because sometimes we've seen it turn around.
And what I hope is that we don't tear each other apart. It goes back to the very first segment. There are consequences. There's damage. There are lives at stake. That there's some things that are more important than an election. It's called the next generation. What example are we setting for our children and the people who come after us? And I think it's pretty sorry. And I'm hoping that the next election will get our act together and not tear each other apart.
Okay, Frank, thank you for all of this. I look forward to talking Jay Leno later. So we'll see you in a little while. Comedian Jay Leno is out of the hospital after being treated for burn injuries. The former Tonight Show host, who's an avid collector of cars, was injured in a gasoline fire a little more than a week ago, suffering burns to his face, chest, and hands. Doctors at the Grossman Burn Center in Los Angeles say they are optimistic that he will make a full recovery. The hospital releasing a photo of Leno with some of the medical staff. So tell us your Jay Leno story.
I was at the car show in Pebble Beach, and Trump had actually helped get me suspended from both Fox and CBS. It was working.
Is that right? What year was that?
This was 2015, and I was very upset. And I'm at the car show. He comes over, and he's watching this because he follows politics. So he says to me, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm not doing great." He said, "I'm going to talk to you." Now, hold on. Now, he's the king of the car show. He's in charge. This is the Provence. I don't know. It's the best show in America for cars. He comes and sits with me, and he says to me, "I'm not going to leave you until you feel okay. So whatever it's going to take." He made me laugh. He gave me advice. He's taken me to his garage several times. This guy is a prince, and I am so happy that he's back out. I want him back on TV, and everyone who's listening should know that not only does he appear like a nice guy in private or on TV, he's a wonderful human being, and he really did. He brought me back.
That's really nice.
Jay, I don't know which camera to look at. There we go. Jay, get well, get healthy, and you are awesome, and I owe you. I will donate to any charity. I will go anywhere for you because you did it for me.
You heard it here, Jay. He'll donate to any charity. So get well and let Frank know what charity you want. Frank, that's such a nice story. Thanks so much for sharing that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here.